These the answer.
What was that?
Hi.
Hello.
These the answer. These the answers that are on screen, Jenna.
No such thing as a right answer. How are you,
You all right,
both?
Matt? Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, I'm all right. All right.
I'm trying to put my thing on.
Oops. Turn my sound off.
Mike, how do I turn my background effect around the other way?
Well, you shouldn't have to.
No, they're right, Matt. They're the right image for me.
Yeah.
It looks wrong. Right,
it looks wrong to you, but to us it looks right.
Oh, I never knew that. I've learned something already.
I know it's freaky. It's like.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Balf. Nice to see you back.
Hey, Jen. How's it going?
I'm right. Did you miss me?
That's the reason I'm back, Jen, because it's you in your face. How's the boys?
I was about to say they were all right, but Evan's been sent home today with suspected concussion, so he's currently laying on the sofa after getting kicked in the face.
Evan. That sounds like Evan.
He played rugby and he got kicked in the face by his own teammate.
Wow.
So that's ideal.
How old's Josh now? Josh is 14, 15?
He's
older.
15. He's 16 in May.
Nuts.
Yeah.
That's
so he's
crazy.
doing his GCSEs soon.
Oh, I remember him when he was like my height.
He's taller than you now.
Yeah,
it's not difficult, I know, but
I can imagine.
How's Bristol? Are you still down there?
I am, yeah, still here. Still running the show. Yeah, Bristol's all good. Can't complain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, who are we waiting for? We're waiting for quite a few more, aren't we? I'll give it 2 more minutes and then we'll just get started because nobody wants to hang around, including me.
Is this finishing at 5, Jen?
It will hopefully finish before that.
Nice. Okay, cool.
It won't go on any later than 5, but hopefully we'll get it done and dusted as quick as possible.
All right, no worries.
Places to be, Valve.
I need to come and see you, Mike. You know
that.
Those that are at the centre, so I can see George and Matt. Are other people with you, or are they joining separately?
Tori and Hope will be in with me, I believe, unless they're over with George, but I think they're coming in.
Hi!
Yeah, I hope so.
So she's with you?
Yeah, and Tori will be in a sec as well.
I think I'm just checking, Jen, and I think that apart from the people running around in the centre to get to Matthew, I think that would be everyone. I can see you've hit record because obviously we've got Nicole on leave, and I also know that our learning support who have obviously finished work, they've asked if they can watch it back because they want to they don't want to miss out on this knowledge. So if you're happy, we can make a start, I guess.
Excellent news. Okay, so everybody should have received the standardisation task. If you haven't, there'll be an opportunity just to have a quick look at it in a moment when you get put into your rooms. On the screen, I'm just sharing with you the instructions that were sent. So it's a candidate that's working towards level 1 employability skills. They've submitted some work for Unit 6, which is setting yourself targets, and the tutor has passed it, and then it's been submitted for IV. So what I've asked you to do is look at it in terms of you being the moderator, the IV. So look at it and see if you agree with the assessor's judgments, the tutor's judgments, in line with the specification. Now, the difficulty that we've got with these specifications, the ones from NCFE, is they contain very little information. There's not a lot of guidance on there. So it is always down to interpretation, and sometimes having to go away and do your own research as well. So the two questions, the two parts of the task was to moderate the candidate's work in line with specification, and then decide whether you think the candidate has met all of the criteria, and do you agree with the tutor's judgments and why. And then the second part of that was what sort of feedback would you be looking to give the tutor as the internal verifier to help them improve. So what I'm going to do is put you into your groups and give you sort of 10 minutes to have a look through the tasks together and decide whether you think they've met the criteria, and then we'll come back and discuss, and then we'll probably then go away again and talk about what sort of feedback you might give, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, any questions before I sort you into rooms? Has everybody got access to the document? Can they see it? Because I obviously won't be able to share it with you while it's in there. Right, so who have we got? So Matty, you can just stay with Hope and Tori.
Okay, yeah, George has come and joined us.
Okay, so I won't put you in a room.
Okay.
A room then. So what I'll do is I'll just put the rest of you adult tutors into a room. Okay, should be going in now. So 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and have a chat. Emma and Danny, I don't know if you wanted to go in or not, if you just want to wait around.
No, that's fine.
Look at feedback.
No, that's fine. Are we all in attendance?
Where's Lillian?
Don't know.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
think we?
she finished teaching at 4.
Right. Okay.
So it might be that she was attending because she'd messaged me about it just to check that everything was all right. So let me just try and dial her in.
Yeah. Probably.
Yes, yeah, she's the only one I'm missing, I think.
Or something.
There's a I know that
Cool. That's good.
there's some students in her group that love to ask questions, so there's a high chance that her session's just overran.
Okay.
Right,
and I did also include Amy, but she spoke to me earlier and said that she had a lot of work on, so was she okay to watch it back, which I said, yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Rightio.
Right, I'm going to go into this group and see them.
So I've just dialed in Lillian, so hopefully she should be joining in a second.
Cool.
How are you getting on, Matthew?
Yeah, going well, Jen. Going well. We're just analysing each bit. Oh God, that's a scary look there, isn't it? It's just a scary look. Yeah, we're
Who's giving you a scary look?
Dan, just in the corner of your screen there.
Oh.
Did you do that for all the meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going well. Just going over sort of the main feedback but also like the quality of the submission really, and sort of just trying to link and how minimal it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, have a look at the quality of the answers, and whether the answers actually meet the criteria, but also have a look at, as you say, the other elements, so like the feedback and the other bits that should be done, and have a look at that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you've got about 5 minutes, 6 minutes left.
Okay.
Hey Jen,
Hi.
I've just messaged Lillian. She is still in a call
Okay.
with a student, so I've just told her to join as soon as she can.
Okay. Yeah, even if she just comes in and listens for this one when we talk about it, that'll be
amazing.
That'll be fine.
Lovely,
Okay,
thank
thanks.
you.
Hi Lillian, I understand you were with some candidates.
Yeah, I just had a few questions before.
That's right. So we've got 2 groups working. One of them's actually, they're in the centre. I take it you're not in the centre, are you?
I'm not, no.
No. The others I've put into a room. So they're discussing stuff at the moment. They're only in there for another couple of minutes. I can put you in there so you can just listen to what they're saying, or we're going to come back again in a minute and discuss the feedback. So you can just wait and
I'm happy
that.
to wait. I'll just get the documents up that you sent me and
okay. Well, yeah, have a little look through them, and then when they come back, we'll discuss what the opinions are, and then you can decide whether you think yours were in line with that or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Matty, you just need to nominate a speaker. I'd imagine it's probably going to be you, but
Why
may as
do
well
you
ask.
think that, Jen?
Guess who's been
course.
nominated in the other group?
Jeremy.
Jeremy or Mike?
Mike.
Yeah. Matt will flat out refuse, wouldn't he? Abdullah only answers when he gets asked. So yeah, narrowing it down.
Okay, right, let's bring them back in. Hello, welcome back, everybody. So I couldn't hear what the college, the centre group were talking about, but I did pop in and hear the adult tutors, and they were having some very good discussions. So let's go. Well, let's go with you guys first. Let's go for Mike, because I know you've been nominated the speaker, which is unheard of. I mean, you never get to do the speaking.
He really wanted to do it. He really wanted to do it. So
I just can't say no.
Just say no.
Let's
Okay.
We'll dive into the specifics, but just the overall question of whether you agree with a tutor's judgment, was that a yes or a no?
Generally, no.
Okay. So was there some that you agreed with and some that you didn't?
Well, it was very limited information. There was also poor grammar, if you want to pick that up on the tutor's own comments, but we don't feel that they achieved. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead to the next one, but we don't think they achieved SMART goals, and they should have really been referred back to them. They're on an again, this is subjectual. They're on an employability course where you would be working with the tutor, would have no say over what a driving test one. If we use that as the example, we can't influence or support or guide them through that, but that is subjective. The dates were duplicated as well, and that should have been pointed out. And then there is a bit of a grey area, as Matt rightly said, between targets. You set targets towards your goal, and I think the terminology got a bit confused by the learner. The tutor feedback overall was very basic, it's not specific, and I wouldn't recommend a pass.
No. Okay. Excellent. Matty, your group, what was your decision?
I think very similar. I think it deteriorated as it went on, really. I think like the answers to the first few learning outcomes weren't too bad. But as it went on, it was very basic, like saying what went well, everything went well. And you're like, and they've given that, like, has it been achieved? And I don't, as a tutor, you need to sort of raise your professionalism a little bit there. And I think as Mike said, like a bit of a bugbear is the feedback. We usually like the spelling and the grammar for that, because you want to set the standard and set the example. And if you can't do it right, you can't really expect your candidates to do it that right. So I think often proofreading it yourself, and then obviously if you need to get someone else to have a look at it as well. But I didn't think it warranted a pass.
Okay. All right, so we're in agreement that we don't think it was a pass. So let's look at the specifics, because there's only a couple of questions. So coming back to you, Mike, for 1.1, describe how targets are used by people who manage them. Were you in agreement that they met the criteria on that one?
Yes. So overall, yeah, for level 1, felt that was sufficient. Yeah,
that one was okay. When I was looking at it, I was a little bit suspicious that it might have been plagiarized, but I couldn't really find anything to suggest it was. But it seemed like it was, the way it was written was quite formal. So that's just something I would be looking at as the tutor, to make sure they were putting that into their own words. But yeah, it's a described question, and I think they have met the criteria. So what about
Jenna, have you ever spoken to ChatGPT? Just out of curiosity. So it is scary. It is scary how a greater response will come back to a question that has not that ChatGPT. Is ChatGPT or GBT? but you,
It's Chat GPT from OpenAI.
yeah, it's scary, Jenna, because it doesn't pull a paragraph. It finds words and it formulates from thousands of sources. Anyway,
okay.
just
all right, I'll have a look at that. Okay, so the second question. So if we come to you, Matthew, in your group, give an example of the use of target setting as part of an informal process. So it is for 1.2. I don't think it's been put on there.
Yeah.
What was your opinion on that?
They've sort of spoken about what goals are, but haven't actually given like an actual example from like seeing it now. Like that, they've like described like probably that would be a good answer to 1.1. But like actually, it could do with just like an example in real life of this would be where they haven't actually put that. They've just sort of generalized what it is. So yeah, I probably wouldn't pass that one.
Yeah, exactly. If it was describe how it is used, it might be okay. I mean, it's quite vague, and they kind of repeat themselves. But the fact that it says give an example, obviously we do need a example in there, and I'm not sure they've done that. So then the second part of that, give an example of the target setting as part of a formal process, like a personal review. What was your opinion on that, Mike?
we felt it wasn't really a specific example. It's just a suggestion or an area where one could be used. Rather a personal review, they could have used a KPI or something within the personal review.
Exactly, yeah. So I wrote a few notes down as well, and I thought, if you're talking about a formal process, you're talking about something that is structured. So I'd expect to see words in there like action planning, specific progress schedule, linked KPIs, and then why is that important for people within a work environment? Well, it helps to motivate them, it helps for rewards, it helps for progression and things like that. And then with the informal, you're looking at things that are a little more person-centered, so not really directed by the company. So it's more about reflective practice. As I say, there is no guidance on that on the specification. So as a tutor, if you get a specification where it doesn't give you guidance, you are going to need to go away and do some research on that and make sure that your professional judgment is where it should be for that qualification. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to add to worksheet 1 that hasn't been covered?
I think with the first one, the grammar was a bit strange, I think. This is the one where you suspected plagiarism, but would that need pointing out? Because it's just written quite straight, used by people who manage them to guide your focus, help you sustain.
Yeah, well, they go from talking in the first person to the third person, don't they? They switch it up.
So it's sort of strange.
I would hope that you would be raising that with them because it's an important employability skill. So they're on an employability course and we're getting them ready for employment. That's not to say that you wouldn't pass them for that reason, because if you can get the gist of what it says, then, and you think they've met the criteria, but you would be putting that in the feedback and you would be helping to develop them there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second part was the SMART targets. So Mike, you mentioned that you didn't think they'd created SMART targets. Matty, were you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I think they've done the S part of SMART at least. But yeah, there isn't enough there, and yeah, it needs to have a lot more information included on there.
Yeah. So when I went into the room, I know I was listening to Mike's group talking about how they weren't linked to employability, and I think that's a good point. I mean, it doesn't specifically say that it has to be linked to employability.
Yeah, I've just seen on that page. I didn't spot that before. This could be based on your personal life.
It very much depends on the program and the individuals. Now, I can tell you that this was an adult candidate, so we would be obviously trying to push them into employability. Now, we do use this qualification with college students as well, so their targets and their action plan is going to look quite different to what an adult is going to look like. So this is used as part of the employment journey. So I would be hoping that a tutor would be encouraging them to look at targets that are going to help them on their journey towards employability. So, Mike, what was it that you were talking about wasn't working for these? What was the problems?
Well, I mean, first of all, they're booking and passing. They aim to book and pass their theory on the same day, so the dates haven't been given any thought. I think, as Matty said, they've really just covered the S part of it, and not much to book my, theory driving test. There could be stages before that. Start, practicing online before you get to the big event. There could be more elements to get you ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want things that you can measure, and particularly the last one, to write and pass the booked theory test. Well, that's never going to happen in the timescale of the course. So I'd be going back to that candidate and saying, right, well, let's break this down. That's what your long-term goal is, that you want to book it and pass it. But what are we going to do in the meantime to help you achieve that? And, they're all sort of based around the same thing. So I would then be encouraging them to look at some other targets that we can create to help them in employment. Matty, did you have any?
Let's notice as well, they've started to practice it before they booked it, which is sensible. My general point is, as a primary goal for someone in this situation who, having done employability before, where people use it as an excuse that they can't get a job because of their location, those people are generally in remote villages where they're constrained by where they go. But this person, as in the comments, is living in Luton, which is a sprawling metropolis and of a lovely place. And so I wouldn't be having this as a primary goal for this sort of person.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. That's a good point. Yeah, Matty, was there anything that you wanted to add to those that you discussed?
No, I think the only thing I was going to say was what you covered, Jen, really, about like just trying to mix them up a little bit. So like, because that's all, as Matt was saying, like they're all focused on like one thing, but it may be quite like important to the candidate, but you would probably try and encourage, like, as well as driving, is there anything else, like you as a person, you socially, demographically, anything that we can look to work on, so you can follow different routes. One could be a short term, medium term, long term. You can mix it all up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think we're in agreement that 2.1 has not been met. So the second part of that, for 2.2, they had to produce evidence of progress. Now that's quite difficult to do, and I know tutors do struggle with this, because it obviously depends what the targets are. Now, based on what they've set as their targets, actually they have put some things in there, and they have commented on their progress. What was your thoughts on that, Matty?
Yeah, I think like screenshots when we've done this unit before have always been quite handy. I think the only iffy bit is, like, can you actually see progress on there, like from the start to maybe a week or two later? Like, for example, they've got an app there on the right hand side. Maybe it could be like, what was your score on day one? What was your score on day three? Where you can actually like show the dates on there for actual progress. Whereas that, like, that could have been just taken off like online. That could have just been Googled. So I think just making it a bit more specific could be a bit of a help.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you want to add anything to that, Mike?
No, completely agree with that.
Excellent.
100%.
Okay, so then task 2C, so 2B and 2C are both looking at 2.2, where they've reviewed those targets set. So Mike, what was your thoughts on that?
It's just too generalized. Everything went well, and there were no challenges. There were no challenges. Well, fair enough, there wasn't any challenges, but maybe it's not appropriate then to use that here. It's very simple, downloading an app. What's going to go wrong there? Everything went well. But what is two is what? Are we missing this? So remind me. Oh yeah, okay. To download,
revising for the test.
Yeah. Okay. Again, this just everything went well. Well, what first attempt, as Matty said, second attempt.
The problem is that the second one is just not specific enough. So to
Mm.
download and practice the Theory Act questions,
Yeah.
you know, are you saying that you're going to practice 10% of them, half of them, the whole lot? Are you looking to get a
2
certain
hours a
percentage,
day.
right? How many?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not specific enough. So you can't really comment on whether that's been achieved or not. And then the third one, well, that isn't smart because it was never set for during the program, so they're never going to be able to comment on it.
And you put test is not due, but actually it says test time and due date on the left, doesn't it? On the image. So that could have been updated. That's just missed that completely.
Yeah. Matty, anything you want to add?
Yeah, Hope's got something for input if we can hear. Go
on. And also, like on that one, there's no guarantee that they're going to pass first time. Like, not everyone passes a driving test and stuff first time. No. So actually, like, there could be challenges and stuff like that. And also, like, you can't always book a driving test on a set date and stuff like that as well. So actually, that would be a challenge in itself. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that one in the mix.
Yeah, no, they're good points. And the point is that as the tutor, you know, they're going to be doing this on their first attempt, so then we need to work with them and talk them through how to actually set themselves smart targets that are going to be helpful to them, are going to help them progress, let them see the worth in it, that it's not just writing something on a piece of paper. We're actually going to help you here. There's going to be a worth behind this. Okay, so in terms of the second half of the question, do you feel like you need to go back in and chat about it, or have you got enough that you can just talk now about what sort of feedback you would be giving the assessor as the IV?
I wouldn't. This wouldn't be put, in my opinion, wouldn't be put forward to IV yet.
Well, they have. The point is they have.
Oh, sorry, you have. Yeah, okay.
They've marked it and they've said it's okay, and they've put it in for IV. So you as the IV, obviously you would be mentioning all the points that we've already talked about. But was there anything else in there that you think constructive wise you could be picking up with the assessor to help them improve?
I think from what I've noticed, Jen, the often the feedback on the second page, you always want to try and relate it to the actual learning outcomes. So if they've done something well, like we were saying 1.1 was a really good answer. Like you say in 1.1 you've done this, whereas in 2.1 it needs more elaboration. So you're a bit more specific, and rather than just generalize, which pretty much the whole assignment is, you want to make sure that when they get their feedback as the candidate, you want to know where to actually go to, because like reading that feedback, they may go back to 1.1 and add stuff to that when they don't really need to. So I think it's just making sure it's clear for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, go on.
Oh, sorry. I think also their feedback is it says, well done for this unit. You've given great definitions to the targets. Actually, it asked for examples, didn't it? It asked for the examples, give an example of these target setting. So actually, it's kind of wrong, isn't it? There wasn't any examples given, but in the feedback they've said you've given good definitions. So it's a bit like the assessor has misread the question.
It is. I think the assessor has misunderstood the question. So then, as the IV, you become the teacher. So you then need to give constructive feedback to the assessor, and you need to direct them to where they can look to find some information and upskill their knowledge. So that's what I would be putting into feedback. I would be saying, I would like you to look at this and make sure that you understand what's asked for in this question and what the difference is between informal, and what kind of examples we could give. I think also, I mean, there's nothing constructive in there either, is there? There's nothing that's going to help. I mean, we know that there are constructive things that we should have told this candidate that aren't there. But everything they've put is very motivational, isn't it? And, you know, things they think they've done well. They've not put anything constructive in there at all. What about the fact that the candidate comments to the assessor, there's nothing in there? What do we think about that?
I thought they get rejected from IV generally if there's nothing in there.
Well, yeah, that is the plan, yeah. But what do you think that suggests to you as the IV if there's nothing in there?
That it's never been fed back.
Yeah, it's never been fed back. And probably the process hasn't been followed in terms of going back and reviewing those smart targets and stuff. It's probably all been done in one sitting, really, I would suggest. So I'd be questioning that, and I'd be reminding them of the importance of getting comments from the candidate. But I mean, the feedback that's been given, I mean, it's not really going to help the candidate anyway. So at this point, I wouldn't be sending it back, but I would be saying you need to improve your feedback. You need to make sure you're being constructive, and then you need to make sure you're sharing that with the candidate and that they're leaving their own comments. Just above a couple of things I noticed, it's an out-of-date assignment brief. So it was issued to the candidate on the 22nd of September 2021, which is obviously a new academic year, but the assignment brief is from the year before, 2021, and it was signed off in the year 21 as well. So that's something you just need to be conscious of, that you look and make sure that it is an in-date assignment brief, because the specifications get updated all the time. We go through and we approve all assignment briefs at the beginning of the academic year. So they should have either August or September on them for that academic year. And if they're not, then you need to challenge that, because they might be wrong, and you might go through the whole process of assessing them. It gets submitted and then it's just sent back to you because some of the criteria are wrong. Okay, I think that was about it. Was there anything else anybody wanted to mention or discuss, or are we happy to leave it there?
Just one quick point. The grammar is a bit funny in the assessor feedback. So in the first sentence, it just says displaying a sound understanding of why target are important, and then your own personal goal are good. So just with the plural, it's a bit odd.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
So again, as the IV, you then start supporting the assessor. They become your learner in a way, and you bring that up with them, ask them to just double check their grammar and explain the importance of getting that right for the candidate, particularly if it's being typed as well. Obviously, you've got autocorrect and stuff on there, so, and spell check, so it is a bit easier to do that. So just signposting them to those functions. Okay, thank you for that. Anything else?
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, we'll round it off there then. Thank you very much for your time and your contributions as always, and I shall see you all soon.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jen.
Jenna.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot. Cheers.
Jenna.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jen. All good?
I'll come get one in a minute.
All good?
Yeah, let me just turn the recording off.